Husband 38M cheating on me 35F throughout 9-year relationship with men. How do I move forward? First time poster, don't know the rules or etiquette, so please bear with me. It feels like my world has fallen apart. I found out last night that my 35F husband 38M and father of an almost 3-year-old and soon to be second first trimester has been cheating on me with men throughout almost our entire relationship, 9 years together, 5 years married. I went downstairs and startled him, and he hid his phone very quickly. So I took it from him, demanded his password, and found his secret Instagram accounts where he's been messaging with men some very explicit things. I quickly realized he'd hooked up with one of the guys when he was out of the country last year. He further confessed that he's always been bi and just never felt the courage to tell me before. That almost since the beginning of our relationship, he'd be meeting up with random guys on Grindr to get sucked off or fuck. In respect of me, he only met with guys. Every time he was out of the country for a bachelor party or traveling, he'd met random guys to hook up. He even hooked up with a guy while on a trip with me and my family before we got married. I went to bed early one night, and he found a guy on Grindr to fuck at the same resort we were staying at. I sometimes went on work trips, and he'd bring a guy back to our house before we had a kid. Every once in a while when he went partying with his friends and I didn't hear from him, that was probably the reason. His hookups are very attractive, younger men, like early 20s. I looked throughout his Instagrams, and after I had him reinstall Grindr, looked at his messages there. It was a lot, but not a lot. He said he often deletes messages. He also had a separate Snapchat, which he deleted in the middle of me investigating his phone. He said they mean nothing to him, that he uses protection, that he liked the attention and feeling like he was wanted. I point blank asked if he was actually gay, and he denied it. I believe him because I once caught him get hard while looking at photos of women on Instagram. He used to follow and like posts of scantily clothed female Instagram models until I told him it bothered me and he stopped. I also saw him getting hard watching videos of girls giving blowjobs. He also has no issue getting hard for me when we have sex. However, no one in his life now, besides me, knows he's not straight. He said his attraction is 5050 between the men and women. We have, though, had issues in the bedroom and a very low sex life because of me. In the beginning, I couldn't keep my hands off him and vice versa. I was a very sexual person. I liked to go like 5 times a night before I met him. But he could really only last 1 or maybe twice, due to an issue with his equipment that he was born with. It would physically hurt him to do more. Eventually, it petered off further as my sex drive took a dive after some of my own health issues. It would physically hurt me when we had sex. It started to get really uncomfortable for me, which made me not really want to do it anymore unless I was drunk and it didn't hurt as much. I also have an aversion to giving head, so that didn't help. Eventually, we would go on increasingly long stints of not having sex, like months. I guess that's when he started to find satisfaction elsewhere. I then 26 tested for STDs and nothing, so never found out why the sudden change. Retrospectively, I definitely should have pursued it further, but was shamed by my older female doctor who said it was normal to gain 20 pounds in a few months and to have a decrease in sex drive. It's called getting older, but that's another story. He asked me not to break up our family. He understands if I want to leave, but that he doesn't want me to, that he loves me and wants to make us work. He says he has an addiction, that if we went back to how often we had sex in the beginning, he wouldn't need to find it elsewhere. That he'll stop cold turkey because we mean more to him. We've already scheduled for couples counseling and individual counseling for him. We deleted his second Snapchat, Grindr account, and one of the Instagram accounts he used to chat with guys. I may ask him to delete his other Snapchat and 3 of his remaining Instagram accounts, but I didn't want to completely deprive him since I wouldn't live without my socials. But what kills me is why he didn't just break up with me when I couldn't give him enough of what he needed. Why did he stay with me? Why did he marry me and start a family? He's actually the one that wanted to have kids. And now I feel stuck because I still love him. He was the sweetest, kindest, funniest guy I ever went out with. He was a caring and considerate husband and an absolutely amazing father to our toddler. I love him, but I don't know how I could ever trust him again. I don't know how I could ever let him touch me and not think about all the betrayal, the lies, the gaslighting. If this is a sex addiction, will I and our family ever really be enough? I don't want to give up without trying, but I'm broken. I don't know how to move forward. I'm worried this shock and all the stress will affect my pregnancy. Even though we're hiding it from my toddler, I'm having a tough time not crying in front of them. I turn to Reddit to see if anyone else can relate, can provide advice, can help me see the light. Second story. I 51F am thinking of ending things with my boyfriend 52M after a serious cancer diagnosis and treatment. How would you handle something like this? I 51F have been dating my boyfriend 52M for 7 years. We are both divorced. I have kids mostly grown. We live in a house that I own. We have no shared property, and he would never consider marriage. He is very private, independent, and quirky. I have no access to his finances. He gives me money for bills. We get along well, don't fight, and have enough in common to enjoy time together. He has never been romantic and doesn't like giving gifts or celebrating much. We both have decent jobs. We had a healthy sex life. I was diagnosed with late-stage ovarian cancer in January. It had spread to multiple organs. I asked him if he wanted to walk away before I told my friends and family I had cancer. He chose to stay and said he would never leave me. I had some initial surgeries, and it was made clear that he isn't a good caregiver. He couldn't check on me, manage meds, bring food and water. When I started chemo, I arranged for other people to take me and set up a meal train to feed us. He did drive me to a number of appointments when I strictly needed a ride. I've lost all my hair. I'm tired, slow, and sick often. I had my birthday in April, and my boyfriend did not give me a card or gift or do anything for me. His birthday is 3 days before mine, and even though I'm sick, I ordered him a gift from Amazon, bought dinner takeout, and made him a cake. Ever since he blew off my birthday, I have lost all my investment in the relationship. Chemo has been successful. We've known all along that if chemo worked, I would have a major operation in mid-May. I got scheduled for an open hysterectomy and cancer debulking surgery on May 13th. It has a 4-week recovery time. As my surgery was approaching, he scheduled himself for a knee procedure 2 days after my surgery. I expressed to him that this was bad timing, and he said he didn't have a choice. He said his knee pain had suddenly grown unbearable. His knee has bothered him for the entire 7 years that we have dated, and he decided that being on crutches after my surgery wasn't a conflict in his eyes. He took the week before my surgery off work and went camping and hiking. He did not take time off work to spend with me when I was recovering from surgery. He worked while I was hospitalized in another city. Then he had his knee procedure. I came home to him on crutches from an elective surgery, unable to care for himself, let alone me. My family and friends have been here caring for me. He asks me to do things for him when I can barely care for myself. His aunt called me to wish me well before my surgery and express her concern that he shouldn't have an elective procedure at the same time. She said that she believes he is having PTSD because his mom died of brain cancer when he was a teen after many years long of surgeries and treatments failed. His aunt raised him after his mom died, and she said this behavior is out of character for him, and she is so surprised by it. I've lost my warm feelings for him. I think we should go our separate ways or just be friends, but I feel guilty. I'm being very detached from him now, and I don't like my own negativity.